Usually, I do about an hour for Matt every year of presentation on skills. But this year, I'm a little more limited on time. I'm busy doing my own content for our workshop in Costa Rica that's coming up soon. I actually think as this is playing, we will be busy with that. So, I wanted to tell you a story, and this is really a project update for any of you that have been following me online. You've heard about Alemaya Farms. We've been working with them for a few years now. But as it's fall and we are looking at our year's crop data, we are loving the stories that are coming from the farm. We're loving to see the pictures and everything that they're sending us. And so, hey, let's share a story today. All right, so when Jonathan found us, and he's the owner of Alemaya Farm, he was a student of Dr. Elaine Ingham. He had completed an online program and he had purchased this farm. He'd had it for some years when we met, and he had already put in a lot of work thinking about storing water and building organic materials in the soil. So I know on the parts of his property that were severely, severely compacted, they had went in and used a deep ripper and some lower quality compost just to get some organic material in the soil and to open it up. When we got there, the whole property was just covered in these gorgeous flowers. Uh, yeah, Jonathan knew right away that he wanted to work with intensive cover crops. Anytime his cash crop wasn't in the ground, he wanted to make sure there was something growing. So this is February 2022, and it is beautiful. A lot of the crops in the areas where they wanted to plant veggies were failing, but you could see that everything was off to a good start um, in other areas of the farm. So when we looked at chemistry analysis of the soil, it was part salty. So was there well water, all the water they had access to actually. When I was looking under a microscope, I don't think I've ever seen more bacteria in one place. I had to dilute so much just to get my eyes on them. But yeah, they were interested in moving forward and had everything that we needed to really make that happen. There was already a huge crew here farming. This is a big farm. I think there must have been at least 10 or 20 people that were busy at work all the time, just trying to do, all the things that need to be done, the tasks that go into growing vegetables. And it was one of our very first issues here. One of the first things that got in our way was there just wasn't really enough labor to make it all happen. And you can see in this overhead picture the persimmons, olives, figs, pasture mix. Those are the areas that had been deep ripped, especially the persimmon area. And there were tiny trees in all over. You can see the cover crop from the sky. Now, the veggie areas and the spot that says Tom and Egg, they were trying to grow veggies in there, and it wasn't doing well. But in the pasture mix area, they were able to get a crop off, and we'll be showing more pictures of that in video later. Um, I wish I had an overhead today to show you, but I got some really good stuff from the ground. Anyway, our first job was to go through and make sure they had all the equipment they needed. We were very lucky to have access to sprayers and extractors, and our job was really just to make sure that the system was easy. Anytime you're coming into a new system that's already, solidified, like these farmers were coming from a conventional way of farming practice and moving into a more organic way. And, that was already a big move for them. Now, adding our biological reality on top of it was like, I'll just tell you, it was stressful for them. So trying to make sure that everything is easy as possible, make extraction easy, make the transference of the liquids easy, make sure cleanup is clear and not hard to do and it doesn't take much time. So a lot of our work in the first year was just really laying the foundation for success, right? I love the way that they dump the tank here and flip it over and we can just power wash it and flip it back up. Genius. So yeah, in the beginning, this is what a lot of the crops looked like that were actually producing. And the farmers, like I said, they're spending a lot of time doing what they're doing. And so we actually did the first sprays. A lot of compost teas, compost extracts being injected into the fruit trees and sprayed onto the fruit trees. It was kind of an area where we had total reign to do whatever microbial madness that we wanted. Looking around the farm, there's a lot of places that we could tell just really needed help. Um, we had a plan. They already had a compost turner on the lot, and they had picked up a huge amount of compost from us, 12 to 15 yards, I think. But they weren't able to make use of it with the teas quick enough. So we thought, let's bury it into the ground. Coming up here, you're going to see the compost they had been using. Really interesting. That pile's been sitting there for 2 years and nothing growing on it. And soon you're going to see the video of our compost, which had been sitting for a few weeks, maybe a few months, actually. All these grasses had gone to seed. So, you know, you can see here, it doesn't even look like a pile of compost anymore. It's basically an extension of the pasture. But yeah, so what we did was we got a biological manager. They hired one on, and he had also went to Dr. Elaine's school, and he made use of that compost. He put extracts and teas as often as he could get them into the veggie crop. He also spent a lot of time in the orchard. The orchard was really his focus at that portion, like the last part of 2022. And you can see the veggies did respond. This is a video here of the eggplants and then tomatoes. They got a crop, but you can also see that it's not growing well. It produced something, but there's so many weeds, powder mildew, pests, lots of pests. But we were seeing improvement. And where I thought we were having a failure, Jonathan said, this is really working. I'm really happy. The lower part of my property used to hold water when it would rain for months, and now it drains out within a day or two. So, where I was seeing a fail, Jonathan was seeing a win because he hadn't had that kind of infiltration with the soil. And he was really smart to see that because it was showing the structure was being built and that we were really getting somewhere. So here you're going to see, I want to show our flaws here. See, we weren't there yet. And I want to be honest, still not 100% there. But seeing these plants look a little haggard like this, but yet still produce so well, we thought, okay, it's time. Let's start making compost on site. So we called in the big guns. Our friend Eamon, who helps us build these compost lots, came out and he created a gorgeous pad for Ollie to play fetch on. Anytime we're building compost, this is obviously his most important work, having fun. But this compost lot, it's a little bit bigger than the lot that we have at Catalyst. And it's just the dream lot. I mean, it's beautiful. It's perfect. The water flows off of it right to that berm. You see that big hugelkultur berm at the end? We love that. And it's got space for about 6 windrows. The windrows are all sized to use this giant tractor and the Mighty Mike turner. That's the turner they have on site. And, we wrote them a little book on how to create compost. We spent time, and we still spend time out there cultivating windrows and helping their staff and the farmers that are on site understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we can care for this compost. And I'll say, like, these guys they're getting good now. They really understand moisture management. They really understand how to turn the pile. They know when to call us and to be alarmed and ask questions. So this is really getting exciting for us, moving to the point that they're able to make their own compost on site. And these are the new windrows. This is October 2024. These are the windrows Casey and I just built. And this is an update on what the farm looks like today. This is the same plot of land that you were looking at that had those little peppers on it. And now it's growing these gorgeous cabbages. They are beautiful. You can see the soil is much darker than it was before. And this has had a lot of compost buried into the ground. So instead of using extracts and teas now, we are really going heavy on producing compost and just putting it in whenever they are tilling. These carrots, the farmer's so proud of these carrots. They are just gorgeous when you pull them out of the ground. And I mean, anywhere you look on this farm, their problem now is that they are selling more produce than they have space for. So they are opening up new beds every single place you can fit them. These are all those veggie plots that you saw in that above photo, right? And now they are full of vegetables. You can still see some weeds. It's not perfect. Pest pressure, yes, it's not perfect, but it's moving forward. And we can really see it. It's obvious. This is an area, these are the olives. This is their second crop. They're actually going to produce some oil this year. So they've got enough of a crop that they're making something out of it. And in between the rows of trees, they're opening up new ground to plant. You can see that here. I believe these are the persimmons. And in between those persimmon trees, we've got eggplants. Just awesome. So cool to see them using every single bit of soil, keeping it covered all year. The persimmons are bearing fruit. The figs are bearing fruit. All the fruit trees are doing their thing. They're still tiny, but we're really happy to see this. Yeah, these figs. The figs are my favorite. Cannot wait till I can go out there and just eat all the figs that we want. Anyhow, look at that growth from a stick to that in just 3 years. The melons too, I wanted to show this. There's still bindweed and weeds. There's weeds throughout the property, especially in the areas where we haven't tilled in much compost. But um, yeah, these were the areas where the farm manager put so much of the focus of mulching and extracts over the years, and it does show. Able to produce delicious melons there now, despite the weeds. This is the peppers. Look how tall, beautiful. Look how they're producing. Hardly any pests. Really, really lovely peppers this year. And then here we're just going to sweep into a before and after um, of the same area. I love this view on the farm. It looks out through the mountains. It's probably where I take the most of the photos from just because it's always so striking. But look at that. Just beautiful crops. And then this is what they looked like back in 2022. So yeah, made a lot of change. You can really see the difference in the color of the soil there. You really see the difference in the produce. Now, the next exciting thing, I guess the last thing I'll share, this is all waste from the farm. These are non-perfect melons and non-perfect produce. They just cannot sell. And instead of it being wasted, going to a landfill or just sitting in a heap to rot, we have created a new operating procedure for this where it gets sandwiched in between wood chips and then composted. And we are using almost all the compost materials now are coming from the farm. We've got seed, we've got green materials. This is actually all the potting soil from their plugs that has been saved up. And we're going to reuse that to create a windrow as well. And yeah, there's actually animals on the farm now too. I didn't get any of those videos in. But just gorgeous pasture, making enough hay for not only all the compost that we need for a year to apply to the farm, um, but yeah, all of the hay that they need for their animals when they're not grazing and they're held up when there's a lot of rain. So yeah, we're just feeling good to share this with you. Keep watching. You are definitely going to see more coming from us about this farm. We are going to have interviews with Jonathan and hopefully some of his farm team and the people that work with us out there. Yeah, good news is always worth sharing. I really, really appreciate you tuning in today and listening. If you want to find out more about us or get in touch with us, all of the information is here on this final page. All right. Happy microbe farming, everybody. Till next time.